A team that has surely had a true window to remember is a team in the Premier League, the Eagles. That is right, guys. I'm sure you figured it out already. Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace down in Selhurst Park has probably had the most memorable window, the most perfect window. And like to sum it up, Crystal Palace have had the perfect window. Guys, Crystal Palace have had a window to remember, and I've started my new series, The Window to Remember, talking about teams who have had a fantastic window or a very poor window. I'm not going to be summing up every team, but I'm going to sum up the teams that I've really enjoyed what they've done this summer. And Crystal Palace are at the top of that list. I'm going to first start with the cheaper end of things. But it is crazy that this man is the cheapest deal they have done. Will Hughes. I know there's some other cheaper deals, guys, like the likes of Remy Matthews, who came in as a backup goalie from Sunderland. You also have the two US boys who have come out from New England Revolution and also the Portuguese League. Obviously, those are the cheapest deals, but Will Hughes is a notable one that is the cheapest deal, and he came in for around £7 million, which is unbelievable. A guy like Will Hughes, he was really the heart of that Watford team midfield. Obviously, the cycling GK is going to miss him in those videos. Everyone loves a bit of cycling GK, but Will Hughes is phenomenal, guys. I know people are going to question him coming up from the championship. What has he got? Is he up to the Premier League standard? I know a lot of Palace fans might be questioning, why are we taking a defensive midfielder from a newly promoted side? But you got to look at some players who have been taken from newly promoted or relegated sides. Gini Wijnaldum, Liverpool took him from Newcastle. Look what he's been. Robertson, he's come from Hull City. So many examples out there of guys who have been relegated or newly promoted sides who have come up and been so influential in key parts of other teams. I think Will Hughes is going to do just that for Crystal Palace. £7 million, guys, for a defensive midfielder who is still 26. You're getting an English player. And the key thing is, he was a key part of Watford's team. He's the glue that kept them together. I said it in the transfer video I had for Will Hughes when he did officially transfer to Crystal Palace. Watford had to get three players to bring in just to fill in the boots of Will Hughes. They brought in Kuka, they brought in Ozan Tufan, and they brought in Musa Sissoko. They had to bring in three players to cover the boots of Will Hughes. That shows you what he brings to that Watford side. And Will Hughes is an unbelievable player. What he will bring to this Watford team cannot be underestimated enough. Or it's just crazy. A defensive midfielder, which Crystal Palace needed badly. It helps Checo Kouyaté move out of that position and give some depth to those two center backs, Mark Guéhi and Joachim Andersen, who we'll talk about in a second. Obviously, Checo Kouyaté for me is not a defensive midfielder. I think he's a center back, but he can play defensive midfielder. I think he's been shaky there to start the year. I think Will Hughes is the perfect fit for £7 million from Watford. The next signing was the Championship Player of the Year, Michael Olise, the attacking midfielder from Reading. Obviously, the reason why Reading really did so well last year was because of Michael Olise. He was phenomenal last year, and Crystal Palace have gotten him on an absolute steal, guys. Bringing him in for £9.3 million. Perfect deal, 19-year-old talent. If he doesn't hit the ground running, he's only 19. You still got many years to come with him. But the thing is, if he doesn't become like a key focal point in the team or so on like that, you can then go and flip and probably treble or triple your money on Michael Olise because he is such a phenomenal talent and he has such a high ceiling that I think Crystal Palace will always be able to make their money back on Michael Olise. But guys, we're getting right into the thick of things for transfers for Crystal Palace. I'm going to skip the next one because I want to talk about him more in depth. The two center backs, Mark Guéhi and Joachim Andersen. I'm going to first start with Mark Guéhi. The most expensive signing from Crystal Palace, from Chelsea's U23 side, or Chelsea in general. They've signed Mark Guéhi for £23.3 million. People might question this one just because Mark Guéhi doesn't have a lot of Premier League experience. I know he did play for Swansea for a little bit. And so far, he hasn't looked out of place at all. He has looked like the perfect fit for Crystal Palace, filling right in for likes of Gary Cahill, Sacco, and Scott Dan. Mark Guéhi has been phenomenal. 21 years of age. You're getting an England centre back, a young talent, a guy you can look onto the future. And like I talked about with Michael Olise, you can always go and flip Michael Olise. For me, Mark Guéhi is always going to make you a profit. He's currently a 21-year-old English centre back who's played for Chelsea. He will bring you lots of winning mentality, a lot of experience in winning. And he will be such a huge part of this Crystal Palace side going into this season and also going into the future, because he's just going to be a massive part. He's quick, he's fast, he's looked great in the air so far, and no strikers really gotten the best of him. And he looks phenomenal. For £23.3 million, I think right now it's not a steal, but I think it'll be an absolute steal in years to come, because you'll see Marc Guéhi being able to flip for Crystal Palace, or teams coming in for him for a crazy, crazy fee. And I think they're going to get a great steal of a deal here from Marc Guéhi. Really, I think all the deals Crystal Palace have made have been absolute steals. And I want to talk about the loan signing before I forget about that. Conor Gallagher, really my favorite signing. I've talked about this one lots throughout my Crystal Palace videos and his transfer to Crystal Palace. Conor Gallagher is a phenomenal midfielder. Scored 2 goals against West Ham to get them that draw against West Ham the other week. He's on loan. For me, this might turn into a Joe Willock situation. I personally really hope it does. As a Crystal Palace fan, I really think it might. As we've seen, Joe Willock went to Newcastle for half a season last year from Arsenal, picking up a lot of first-team experience, enjoying playing for Newcastle, and really progressing himself as a footballer and learning how much first-team game time is so crucial in a young player's career. And I think when Conor Gallagher realizes how much backing he's going to get from Patrick Vieira, the fans are going to love him. The fans are going to enjoy him. Everyone's going to back him. The whole team's going to enjoy what he does. He's just going to score you goals. He's going to work hard defensively. He's going to play beautiful passes. He doesn't stop running. And it's obviously a season-long loan, guys, but I think Conor Gallagher is going to realize this is the place for him. He's staying in London. He's not moving far away from Chelsea. And I think he might stay at Crystal Palace after this year. Of course, guys, it's a loan deal from Chelsea for a year. Still a brilliant deal. But I do believe Conor Gallagher will come back on a permanent. I really, really do. Because if you look at those midfielders in that Chelsea side, it's ridiculous. You have Kai Havertz. You have N'Golo Kante. You have Jorginho. You have Saul Niguez. You still have Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You still have Ross Barkley. It's so saturated in there, and I think those guys are better than him. And I just don't see a way for Conor Gallagher to get into that upper echelon of Chelsea midfielders or that Chelsea squad. The last two, I'm going to quickly jump into Joachim Andersen and save the best for last, guys. Joachim Andersen, the 25-year-old center back from Denmark, from Olympic Lyonnais. Everyone remembers him last year from his stint at Fulham. Really, I'll always say this, he was the only bright spark in that Fulham side. Fulham looked terrible last year. For me, besides Ademola Lookman, besides Joachim Andersen, there was very few bright spots. And Joachim Andersen was tremendous last year. Came back saying he wants to stay in the Premier League. He loved playing in the Premier League. And Crystal Palace have found him a brand new home. I think he was phenomenal. And to bring him in for £17.5 million is one of the best pieces of business in this window. And you can't really doubt that business. It was phenomenal to get him over the line. So many teams were interested in Joachim Andersen. For Crystal Palace to go out there, throw the money out there, and get him done was fantastic business, because so many Premier League sides wanted him. And the fact that Crystal Palace showed the urge to go out there and get him, it shows that Joachim Andersen believes in the project and believes in what's happening here at Crystal Palace. And it also shows that Joachim Andersen does have some leadership. He has some veteran mentality. I know people are criticizing the lack of leadership, the lack of veteran mentality in the dressing room now, but you got to look at who they still brought in. Some very key leaders at their respected clubs before coming to Crystal Palace. The last signing I want to talk about, guys, Hudson Edouard, the 23-year-old Frenchman coming from Celtic for a fee of £16.3 million. Best piece of business in the window. I had a guy in my comments, phenomenal shout. He says it's the best piece of business in the transfer window, and I do back him. I think after analyzing the deal, after looking at it, I think he's correct. Icon legend, a French legend like Patrick Vieira, backing a guy like Hudson Edouard, a striker from France, who he's put all of his faith in and saying, you're my number 9, I believe in you, you're going to score me the goals. And once you get Hudson Edouard firing, once you get Wilfried Zaha playing alongside him, Eze, that front three is going to be one of the most dangerous in the league, and teams are going to have to watch out. Then you have the midfielder, Will Hughes, Conor Gallagher, and MacArthur. Whew. And then wait until Michael Olise gets in there. It's going to be a crazy team. Obviously, Hudson Edouard wanted to get out of Celtic for the last year or so. You could see it. He finally got his move out, and he's joining Crystal Palace, which is a beautiful move for him. And if you want to look at lack of leadership in this Crystal Palace side, they obviously cleared a lot of dead wood and a lot of veterans. But if you want to look at leadership, Vincent Guaita still there, Checo Kuyate, James Tompkins, Nathaniel Klein, Joel Ward, Martin Kelly, Milivojevic, MacArthur. Like, guys, some of the leaders in this team, even Christian Benteke, you still got a great blend of leaders and youngsters and the new project. And it's beautiful to see from Patrick Vieira. Quickly, guys, I'm going to wrap up the departures because there were so many. For me, the only big name was Andros Townsend. Patrick Van Arnholt could be talked about, but really for me, it's only Andros Townsend. Most of the guys leaving on freeze. I'll run them out for you guys quickly before I wrap her up. Patrick Van Arnholt to Galatasaray, Andros Townsend to Everton, Mohamedou Sakho to Montpellier, James McCarthy to Celtic, Scott Dan to Reading, Gary Cahill to Bournemouth, Wayne Hennessy to Burnley, and Stephen Henderson to Charlton, with also Connor Wickham still looking for a club. He's on trial, I think, in League One teams. But guys, Crystal Palace has made some unbelievable business, shipping out some dead weight, like I said there, and making some unbelievable signings. The best team in the window so far, guys. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. So much helps out the channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, hit that red button down below. Subscribe to the channel. It means the world. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Drop a comment down below. And guys, check out the series because it's a great series. Talking about the teams who have had some of the best windows so far in my new series, Windows 2 member. But guys, I'll see you guys for the next one. And Crystal Palace fans, I hope you enjoyed the video. Guys, I'll see you for the next one. Peace.